The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. All right, welcome back to Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. This music means you know what time it is. It is time for the NFL picks of the week. This is week 11 in the NFL. We'll quickly go over what happened last week, which was week 10. Last week, I ended up winning 7-4. We didn't do too good, Ryan Risky.
Not at all.
7-4. I picked Chicago over St. Louis, so I gained a point on that. I picked Miami over the Eagles. They held on in 1 point there. I picked the Vikings over Oakland. I got a point there. And everything else was the same. That's why it's a 3-point victory for me. So 7-4. That I am 6-3-1. You are 3-6-1 on the season as far as our record. So still plenty of time to catch up, of course. And the Thursday night game, that should be going on in about 15 minutes.
Oh, I got to see if TJ Yeldon's playing. Thanks for the reminder.
You're
I
welcome.
Completely forgot. He's questionable right now. Now he's upgraded to probable.
Okay, good. So sounds like he'll play. We got the Titans at Jacksonville.
I'm going with Jacksonville.
Jacksonville on the road, at home. I'm going to go with the Titans. Mariota's been playing okay. I think he can get a road victory against Jacksonville. I know Jacksonville's been playing pretty well, but I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think they'll win. Did they have 2 or 3 wins, don't they? I think the Jaguars have 3, maybe, and the Titans have 2 or 3. It's going to be a close matchup.
However many the Jaguars have, they're pretty close to first place in their division.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go with Tennessee. You go with Jacksonville. Oakland at Detroit. Ooh, this is
Oakland.
Bad battle. I got to take Oakland on the road. Detroit is, continuing. Although they came off of a very strange win at Green Bay, but I think you kind of got to go with Oakland at this point. They lost to Minnesota, but Minnesota's a better team than both Detroit and Oakland. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Oakland on the road. The Andrew Luckless Colts at Atlanta, coming off of a bye week, and they haven't played well the last few weeks.
I don't know how you can pick the Colts in this. I mean, you got to go with Matt Ryan in Atlanta, especially with the secondary issues. Julio Jones could tear them apart.
Yeah, I think the Falcons are 6-3, so they haven't looked as good as they did earlier in the season when I think they were 6-1 at one point. I got to go with Atlanta at home. They'll get back on track, improve to 7-3, keep that tight race close in the at least they'll keep their wild card hopes alive, I should say, in the NFC South. St. Louis at Baltimore. St. Louis coming off of a bad loss to the Bears.
Terrible loss to
and
the
Baltimore,
Bears.
Did Baltimore win or lose?
Baltimore lost to Jacksonville.
Yeah, but Baltimore lost to Jacksonville on a field goal that should have never been attempted. That's what it was. This is tough. I got to go St. Louis on the road, going in and winning. Their defense is just too good, and when a defense is playing a Mark Trestman offense, bad things happen.
Yeah, I think you've got to go with. You can't go with Baltimore this time. That's really all that you need to say. I'm going with the Rams. Well, although I'm going with the Ravens.
Oh no!
Case Keenum is starting for the Rams. I completely forgot about that.
Okay, but he's just as good or bad as Nick Foles. I know Joe Flacco's good, but they've been so bad, and the Rams' defense will cause some turnovers. Flacco throws interceptions. I'm sticking with St. Louis, but you can go with Baltimore.
Yeah, I have to go with Baltimore, sadly.
All right, so that's 2 differences already. Tampa Bay at Philadelphia. This is an interesting matchup, considering both teams are pretty even.
As in not good. I think I'm going to go with Philadelphia. They're like a tale of 2 different teams. At home, they're great, and on the road, they look awful.
I'm going with Tampa Bay on the road. Tampa Bay's really improved, and Chip Kelly is a real dummy. He's one of the stupidest people, I think, who's ever coached, almost as dumb as Mark Trestman.
I wouldn't put him on that level yet.
Oh, he's pretty bad. He still thinks it's college.
I mean, I know he's bad, except I think he's at least a whole nother level ahead of Mark Trestman.
Yeah, fine. He's a whole level ahead of him.
Chip Kelly at least looks at game film, tries to operate a
Not
good
just
defense.
the practice film.
At least you don't have Chip Kelly in the press conference. We're going to look at the practice film and see what went wrong. I don't know why we keep getting blown out.
we had such a great week of practice. I don't understand why we lost 55-0 at Green Bay.
Okay. In a game that Green Bay is still scoring in.
Yeah. I'm going to take Tampa Bay, though. They got a better quarterback. Jameis Winston's actually improved really fast the last few weeks. He could be something maybe at some point. Philadelphia is in all sorts of trouble. Sam Bradford is out, isn't he?
Yeah, Mark Sanchez is playing. Expect to see a big week from Jordan Matthews because he's Mark Sanchez's favorite target.
Okay. We'll be watching for that. Here's the big one. Denver at Chicago. No Peyton Manning for an infinite amount of time. We don't know. Brock Osweiler is the starter. And Chicago has Jay Cutler has been playing as good as since he was last with Denver, pretty much.
Cutler's been unbelievable. Do you know the last 3 weeks he's had better numbers than Aaron Rodgers?
I did know that, and I think currently right now, numbers-wise, he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks right now in the NFL. Like if you're looking like from from last week on.
Yeah, Adam Gase has worked wonders. I mean, and if this doesn't get Adam Gase a head coaching job for being able to proving that it wasn't all Peyton Manning that record-setting year, that proving that he can fix Cutler, I don't know how he doesn't get a head coaching.
Oh, if he wants one, he'll get one. There's going to be lots of places open, and in college too. I know they were talking about huge openings in college. USC is a big one. There's a lot of places.
No, I hope he doesn't leave. I love the job that he's done. I'm going with the Bears. I mean, before, at the beginning of this season, we were just thinking the Bears are just awful, and now we're kind of realizing that no matter how little talent this team has, John Fox and Vic Fangio and Adam Gase are just too good of coaches to have like a 4-12 season.
Right. Normally, the Bears, I think, would lose a type of game like this, and I'm also going with the Bears. But something just tells me, Brock Osweiler, guy out of nowhere. Jay Cutler's playing so well. Alshon Jeffrey and Matt Forte didn't practice today. The one you want to watch out for is Alshon Jeffrey. Hopefully he'll be ready to go Sunday. That'll just open it up a little more.
Ready to start again.
Jeremy Langford's been pretty well, and that really makes you feel more comfortable in a couple years when Forte's gone that you might have an actual good replacement running back, which the Bears haven't had since, the Bears haven't had a good running back since Matt Forte. And before that, they hadn't really had a good running back.
Thomas Jones was pretty good.
Since Thomas Jones, but the Cedric Benson thing was a huge bust. And then before that, just Walter Payton.
Jones wasn't here long enough, and he left because he didn't want to split carries with Benson, and that was a mistake.
Right. Yeah. Well, obviously, they were so dumb thinking Cedric Benson would be something. But, I'm going with Chicago. I really think they have a good chance to win this game and go to 5-5. Although, in these type of situations, when I pick them and I'm confident that they'll win, then they usually end up losing. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
That's the thing. Whenever I think the Bears are starting to get good, then they just start losing again.
Right, and then we have to go back to, maybe they'll get a good draft pick now. And I'm kind of sick of that talk because they never end up getting a good draft pick. So I just want them to play as well as they can and get as many wins as they can and hopefully make the playoffs.
Right. The thing is, if they beat Minnesota, they don't have that late-game collapse. They're in a good position to win that division. Because if you look at the remaining schedule, all of their games are reasonably winnable with the exception of the Green Bay game.
Yeah, they'd still be a game behind Minnesota, though, because Minnesota's 7-2. The Bears, if they would have won, they'd have 4 losses. Minnesota would still have 2. But if they would have beaten Detroit, then they would have had 3, and they would have only been, they would have been leading the wild card, and they would have been right there with Minnesota and tied with Green Bay.
Right, you're starting to realize now that with actual proper NFL coaching that this Bears team is pretty good.
Yeah, the only thing is I wish they had better clock management, but that's the least of their problems at this point anyway. The Jets at Houston.
I'm going with the Jets.
Jets on the road at Houston. Houston played really well. Against
their defense played really good against Dalton and the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Houston, and normally I don't pick them because I don't really like them, because they don't really have a quarterback. But they're going to be home, and the Jets have sort of been spinning out of control. Rex Ryan upset them last week on Thursday. I think I'm going to go with Texas, with the Houston Texans on the road. I just have at home. I just have a feeling.
I just don't see the Texans. I think are just a team that's so close yet so far away from being good.
True. Plus, DeAndre Tompkins had one hell of a catch. Did you see that?
I did. I thought Hoyer threw that ball out of bounds. I thought he was just throwing that out of bounds.
Yeah, I didn't think there was going to be a play on that, but DeAndre Hopkins made it happen.
That's another thing. He's invading Revis Island this week.
Yeah, he is. Washington at Carolina, undefeated Carolina, and Kirk Cousins has been playing really well, but there's really no chance. I got to go Carolina.
I think Carolina stays undefeated.
Yeah, there's really not much to say. I mean, Cam Newton's playing out of his mind right now. Dallas at Miami.
I'm going with Dallas. I think the 7-game losing streak ends with the return of Tony Romo.
That's right. Tony Romo is returning, and then of course he'll have a good weapon in Des Bryant. That sounds pretty good, but I'm still gonna stick with Miami. I don't know. I just feel like I just hate Dallas. I'm gonna go with Miami.
I hope Dallas loses because if they one more loss, then their season's pretty much over.
Oh yeah. And that's kind of sad to say because the people leading that division are 5-5, the Giants. Kansas City at San Diego.
San Diego, as thin as their receiving core is, I think Phillip Rivers still gets a win against a poor Chiefs team.
The Chiefs have been playing better, though, the last few weeks. They just blew out Denver.
Yeah, since they lost to the Bears, they've been playing pretty good.
They blew out Denver, and Peyton Manning was only, 5 for 20? Something like that, with 5 interceptions or 4 interceptions.
Except you found out that he was playing with a torn ligament in his foot and some torn cartilage in his ribs. I feel like that boosted Kansas City, and Kansas City is going to play really well the second half of the season. And I mean, they've been a pretty good team for 2 seasons. And they started off slow, but they're kind of like the Bears right now, where they're starting to get things going and playing a lot better. I'm going to go Kansas City on the road at San Diego. San Diego's really been bad. Plus, they might be moving to Los Angeles, so that would even, I feel like a lot of people are upset down there, and they're not going to be playing their best. I'm going to go Kansas City. Green Bay at Minnesota. This will probably be the Fox game of the week. There's another game on Fox, 49ers at Seattle. But I'm seriously sick of almost every week the Fox 3 o'clock game of the week. Every freaking week it's Dallas. I don't care about Dallas. Not one person in this country cares about Dallas besides Dallas fans. Why every week are the Cowboys the game of the week?
Well, not this week.
Yeah, not this week. Thank God.
But every week
I'm really
they are.
sick after the Bears games. Looking forward to seeing a good game, and then it's the Cowboys.
The best thing is,
are you kidding me?
The best thing is there's always 2 games on Fox, and depending on what market you're in. And it's just funny because the other game's always better and we never get it.
Right, yeah. The other game is always better and we don't get it because they have everyone watching Dallas.
Right.
No one cares about Dallas. It's really sickening. No one cares about Dallas besides Dallas fans. No one wants to see them without Tony Romo playing a terrible team.
All right, here's one that will probably get over the 49ers at the Seahawks. Packers at Vikings.
Yeah,
which could be a very good game.
I have a feeling we're going to get that game.
I hope so. I don't want to see the 49ers play at all.
No, neither do I, especially when Seattle's just going to run all over them again. Yeah. And Seattle's not even that good this year.
But they're good enough to beat San Francisco.
I think the only thing that's been consistent about them is Russell Wilson throwing 1 touchdown pass in every game.
You got to get that touchdown, yeah. All right, so you're taking in this good matchup between Packers and Vikings.
It's so tough to not take Green Bay, and it's so tough not to pick Minnesota.
I know.
Really, this should be a no-brainer, and you pick Green Bay, except they haven't won since Ditka put on that sweater.
That's right.
And you really want that to stay true.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, for Bears fans, we want the Vikings to win.
I mean, really, because what happens if Green Bay loses this week and then the Bears upset them?
Right, then
Green Bay's 6-6. Then
Green Bay's 6-6, and the Bears would be 6.
They'd be 7-4.
7-4. No, the Bears have 5 losses.
7.
The Bears are 4-5, so they'd be 6-5. But they'd be ahead of them, unless have the Packers had their bye yet?
I don't think so.
That's kind of confusing. Anyway, I'm going to go with Minnesota.
I'm going with Green Bay. I think this is a huge game for them, and they need to win this.
It is. I'm just going with it. I really feel like Green Bay probably will win, but I got to
feel like
stick
it'll
with
be
Minnesota.
close.
I've had good luck picking Minnesota. Every time I pick them, they